Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the EQLZ 24/7. So this is or EQLZ is short for equalizer. And if you guys didn't know, Aaron Cooper kind of started this company with some other people. A shout out to Yi. And also Aaron Cooper was a huge Nike designer. He worked over there for around 20-25 years and he made a lot of designs over there. And he kind of left Nike and started his own thing, which is really, really cool. And as you guys can see from the design of the actual shoe, he did a really good job, right, with his fellow designers. So this is the 247 or the 24/7, and it retails for $150. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave a link in the description box. But let's get it started right off with the Trazione. So I mean, as you guys can see, I did do a little bit of walking around in this shoe. I didn't play in it yet. I was just walking around outside, going out, getting some food, and then also walking my dogs a little bit, you know. But I'm actually gonna play in these today, right? And the traction pattern looks really interesting, you know, and it looks very unique actually. So the design is inspired by shark skin, which is pretty cool, right? So you can see these little nubs. There's actually 220 separate nubs, and then it's also a map, like a pressure map of the entire foot, and then the lines going around the shark skin is a laminar flow of water. So that's kind of like the design, the overall design of the outsole. And it's a very interesting outsole because as you guys can see, the shark skin kind of nubs, it kind of protrudes out a good amount. It's very long, you know what I mean, like this way I guess. So it's very deep. And it also has this really interesting design on it where on like the longer sides of the ovals, it kind of curves in. It has like this concave shape to it almost, you know? So it actually kind of moves as well. So we'll have to see on like that movement being good, if it'll improve or be good for like stops, you know, for louder movements and stuff like that. But overall, like how does the stop feel on my wood floors? It feels pretty dang good. It doesn't feel top tier right now, but it has a nice little stop. Also has a little bit of a squeak. It's not super loud or anything. Of course, squeak has nothing to do with performance, but you know, I feel like most hoopers, you know, we like to have a little bit, or actually a nice loud high pitched squeak, but this shoe has a little squeak, you know? And as far as the durability goes, I feel like it'll be pretty good actually, you know? The lines actually don't seem super durable to me, but the actual kind of nubs, they're super deep, right? They're very deep. There are some parts where it's like a little bit thinner though, especially like, I guess, like right over here. So maybe that might rip off. So take it with a grain of salt, but I feel like it'll be okay on an outdoor court. So the overall traction, I really like the design. I love how it looks, and also it feels pretty good so far. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, it feels overall extremely smooth, right? So here in the heel, we have a nice curved shape, right? And also we have pretty much a fully exposed foam midsole, so it has a nice little compression. So when you're kind of doing heel dominant strides or just walking around, it feels pretty smooth here in the heel. Then coming here into the forefoot, we have a nice curved shape and a good amount of forefoot flex, right? It's not super easy to flex. You definitely need to put a little bit of force into it, and it has a nice little kind of like rebound back, right? So that actually does feel pretty springy as well. So overall, the heel to toe transition with the shape feels extremely smooth, and then with the kind of springiness, it adds a little bit of pop to it in the forefoot, you know what I mean? So that feels extremely nice. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So they're using a Pebax foam, which isn't anything special, but it feels pretty nice, right? And so here in the heel, we have a little bit of compression. It feels pretty dang nice. One thing I don't like about the shoe overall though, is that it doesn't have the best court feel. It feels pretty high up off the ground, especially comparing it to like, you guys remember this, the Hyper Dunks, and then also the 8083 Ultra V2, right? These are really good for court feel, but this one feels a little bit higher up off the ground, especially here in the heel, but I feel like the impact protection is going to be really good. The overall step and comfort is pretty nice as well. It's kind of soft. I'm sure it'll get a little bit softer once I start playing in it, but as far as the insole goes, the insole feels pretty nice. It almost looks a little bit like styrofoam, you know, but it actually has a bit of thickness to it, and it does feel pretty nice for step and comfort. And then underneath that, we have a regular strobel board, right? So yeah, we'll have to see on how that feels, you know, if it'll get softer for the strobel board and if it'll get bouncier like right underneath my foot. But overall, I do like how it feels so far. It's just the court feel isn't the best. That's kind of one thing that I don't like about it, right? So there's that. Moving on to the upper. So the upper is something that I really like about this shoe, and it's definitely a nice refreshing design. If you guys remember, this is the Hyperdunk, the Flying. I believe this was 2016, right? 2016 or 2015. But yeah, it had pretty much the same exact design. It had Flyknit here. It's just this one booty construction. We have also this kind of like sock collar, which is super nice and stretchy. It really improves the lockdown as well. And shoes don't really do this design anymore, right? The only other shoe that kind of does it right now is the 8083 Ultra V2, but it's not one booty. It actually has like a kind of like a tongue, you know, it's like a half booty kind of construction, you know what I mean? So it doesn't really like stretch over your foot as much. But in the 247, it's just fully kind of like one booty. Right, so we have this kind of like knit upper. I'm just gonna call it Flyknit. I don't know, should I don't know. But we have this knit upper, right? And then here in the toe box, we have this like really cool design. You know, it has kind of like these dimples in it, and it's extremely soft. It's also supportive. It doesn't really stretch at all. It's just a little bit thick, you know what I mean? Just a little thick, but honestly, it's not that bad. And also we have this leather material, as you guys can see, right? This leather material goes around the entire perimeter of the shoe. You guys see that? Right, so that'll be good for toe drags, durability, support, especially here in the toe box and also on the lateral side of the shoe. So that's pretty nice. The leather quality seems pretty nice as well, not the best. So it feels really nice here in the toe box, right? And then here in the midfoot, it feels really nice because it doesn't feel glued down at all. That's one thing that I like about this knit material. And then where the tongue's supposed to be, right? Yeah, right on top of your foot, is this really nice stretchy material. So when you put this shoe on, it kind of just stretches over your foot, especially here on top, which feels really nice and comfortable because it feels like a sock, just like here in the Hyperdunk Flyknits, you know. And also the 808s do that a little bit as well. You know, this is a stretchier material, but contrary to that, this has a separate tongue, right, as you guys can see. But here in the 247, it's just this one piece kind of knit material, which is really stretchy. And I thought this shoe was gonna be kind of hard to put on, but it's actually really easy. You just slide it on like a sock or a slipper and you're good to go. And the overall quality of the material feels really nice. You know, for 150 bucks, I think they did a really good job. And then here in the ankle area, we do have like an Achilles pad. You know, like there is an extra bit of foam here in the back of the shoe, which does also improve lockdown and improve the comfort here in the back of the shoe as well. So yeah, the overall upper feels really nice so far. And now moving on to the fit. So I went true to size and fits me pretty well, but it is a little roomy here in the toe box, right? So for length, you should be fine going true to size. But if you want it to be snug, it's not super snug here in the toe box, unfortunately. Which kind of sucks, you know what I mean? I definitely feel like they can tighten this up a little bit, you know, like especially like the original Hyperdunks, these were super duper nice and snug. And of course here in the 808s, these are really snug as well, right? You can see how much it kind of comes down. In the 247, it kind of comes up a little bit, right? It kind of scrunches up a little bit as well. So I mean, if you have a thick foot, I guess that's good for you, but for me, I like to have a nice snug fit here in the toe box. So that's one thing that I definitely would change, especially with this knit material. You know, knit materials, they do stretch out over time once you're breaking them in. This will probably get even roomier once I plane it, so that kind of sucks. But overall, like I said, it does feel nice. The material does stretch over my foot here in the midfoot and also here in the ankle areas. It feels nice and secure. It's just a little roomy here in the toe box. And also width-wise, I would say it is actually slightly wide, right? Comparing to like the other shoes, right? The Hyperdunks, right? It just feels a little bit narrower for some reason. I don't know why. Also the 808s. Just feels a little bit wider for this shoe. So the fit overall isn't the best for me. So there's the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown. Support and lockdown feels, I mean, for lateral containment, it seems like it'll have you covered, right? So for the lateral cage, we can see the foam coming up, acting as a sidewall, as well as this plastic piece, right? We have this plastic piece on the lateral and also on the medial side. So that's coming up here in the forefoot, here in the midfoot, and also here in the heel. There doesn't seem to be a crazy internal TPU heel counter, but the foam does come up acting as sidewall here, so that should have you covered, right? And also lateral stability, you should be fine as well. We do have a pretty wide base. We can see the foam and the plastic protruding out on the lateral side here in the forefoot. So overall support and lockdown feels like it'll be pretty dang good. And now moving on to the weight. The weight is something that I'm kind of interested in, right? It doesn't feel super duper light. Actually, no, it feels kind of light. It just feels a little kind of bulky, you know what I mean? So let's check the weight. So 13.5 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 13.65 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So that's like an ounce heavier than average. So it's not super heavy, but it is a little bit heavy. Let's check it versus like the Hyperdunk. Yeah, the Hyperdunk is 11.5. So this is 2 ounces lighter. And then the 808s are 13.45. So these are around the same exact weight, right? But yeah, it does feel a little bulky, however, right? So for example, in the Hyperdunk and also in the 808s, it doesn't really feel bulky at all because nothing's really protruding out that much. You know what I mean? It's just kind of streamlined to your foot. Same thing with the Hyperdunk. I guess it does come up, you know, with the foam a little bit, but it doesn't protrude out like crazy. But here in the 247, it does feel a little bulky here in the heel, especially since it's kind of like high up off the ground in the heel too. So it does feel a little bit bulky here and also a little bottom heavy because of the knit. The knit is super minimal because there's like no padding in it, you know, for the actual upper. Like it is kind of thick comparing to like a mesh material for like modern times, but it's not thick really at all because there's no tongue, there's no padding where the tongue's supposed to be. So it feels really minimal on top of your foot, and then on the bottom it feels like kind of bottom heavy. So I don't like that all too much. I kind of like a more like balanced weight and feel, but it does feel really nice and comfortable on foot. You know what I mean? So there's that. And now moving on to the aesthetics, it looks great. You know, this all white colorway looks great. The black and white colorway that came out earlier looks great as well. And then the all black colorway that's coming out looks awesome too. And also the overall design looks awesome. I love the outsole design. That's very, very unique. And then the upper, it just looks super simple. You know what I mean? It's a very, very simple design. They want to make a little bit more of like an extension of your foot, you know what I mean? As far as like how it plays and how it feels, and that's what it kind of feels like, you know? So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, I'm very excited to try these out. You know, they feel really nice so far. Nothing about the shoe feels absolutely amazing besides the knit upper to me. You know what I mean? The cushion feels pretty nice. The traction feels pretty nice so far. The fit isn't the best for me, but it feels really nice as far as like the stretchy knit goes over my foot, you know? So I do like the overall shoe so far. It's just nothing's kind of like blowing my mind right now, you know? So that about concludes my first impressions look on the EQLZ or EQLZ 247 or 24/7. If you guys do want to cop, again, I'll try to leave a link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.